What makes 2008's Cloverfield so special? What did we miss upon first viewing, with second viewing, or maybe even third viewing? Hint, it's this little moment right here. Let's explore this little gem of a disaster monster movie and see what all the fuss was about. Today we're doing something a little different, screenplay and film analysis. Enter Cloverfield, and without further ado, let's get into it. Written by Drew Goddard and directed by the relatively unknown at the time, Matt Reeves, who we know would later go on to direct some great Planet of the Apes films and a rather good Batman film. It was Drew Goddard's first produced feature, and on those producing duties, it was Mr. J.J. Abrams. With a modest budget of 25 mil, well, modest by today's standards for this type of film, the film went on to become a sleeper hit, grossing a domestic of 167 million. And a lot of this was down to its ingenious marketing strategy, which we'll talk about later on. Let's dive straight into the plot, shall we? We're initially presented with some text on the screen informing us that what we're about to watch is actually found footage from a US site formerly known as Central Park, New York. And yeah, that's America. I mean, where else would it be set, right? Anyhow, we open on the Manhattan skyline. We hear a man, Rob Hawkins, who we assume is our protagonist. And he's in the idyllic bedroom scene with a woman named Beth McIntyre in her father's apartment. Wait, what? That's weird. They later embark on a date across New York in the famous fairground pier, Coney Island. This is seen in clips. Cut to, what we find out is a month later, Rob's brother, Jason, and his girlfriend, Lily Ford, throw him a surprise farewell party at his apartment in Lower Manhattan. That's Rob's apartment. So why did they end up in Beth's father's apartment? Anyhow, I digress. Rob is heading for the land of the rising sun. And that's Japan if you don't know, and this is for a new work position. At the party, Jason asks Rob's best friend Hud, a la TJ Miller, being, well, TJ Miller, to film testimonials for Rob. And this is the part where the found footage concept is really formed. Hud, as we now see, has other interests at the party. Lily's friend, Lily, who's Jason's girlfriend, Rob's brother's girlfriend, Melina Diamond. God damn, that was a mouthful. The main cast ensemble is now complete. Enter Beth, who brazenly attends the party with her new guy. Well, Rob did essentially ghost her after that one day they had together, that one beautiful idyllic day. So it's on him. I mean, what's a girl supposed to do? Turn up with some flowers and say, "Thank you very much for not calling me. It was a pleasure doing business with you." Anyhow, they eventually try to talk. No, actually they argue. And Hud neglects all of his best friend duties and tries to capture it, being the good old best friend that he is. Beth storms off with the new guy. Then an earthquake occurs, causing a short citywide power outage. Now, earthquakes in New York are not so common, at least not on this scale. So we knew we was in for something a little strange at this point. And this ties into the element of marketing that they put forth. But again, we'll speak about that later. Hud, with the rest of the party goers, Rob, Jason, and the rest of them, so they all decided to take themselves to the rooftop of the building to explore what happened. And it was there where they quickly witnessed a massive explosion in the distance. Basically, all hell breaks loose at this moment. So they flee with the rest of the party goers down the stairs. And once they're out, it is here where we get the famous Statue of Liberty moment. Hud pans away with the camera and looks through the blocks to see a massive creature moving by. As the creature passes the blocks, it crushes one of the buildings and it comes tumbling down. This causes a whole bunch of dust and debris to scour into the street that they're on. They quickly take refuge in a shop, not understanding exactly what's going on. And after the dust and debris settle, they eventually come back out of the shop to see a completely dust-filled street, similar to the scenes that we saw during the actual attack, the terrorist attack. So it plays on our subconscious in that kind of way. It is here where through the dust appears Melina, Lily's friend. In shock and disorientated, she eventually comes around to let the group know that the creature is actually eating people. So, clearly not ideal of a situation, along with the debris falling from the buildings and the earthquakes and the explosions. And it is at this moment I want you to pay close attention to. This moment during Act 1. So it was Jason who pushes everyone to get off the island and escape whatever that thing was. He didn't see it, but he doesn't want to be around it. I mean, that's natural and I would say pretty good instinct. I mean, typically in the world of disaster movies or monster movies, it'd be a good idea to get away from the actual thing that's causing carnage. So Jason, assuming the leadership role, tells everyone get out of Dodge, get to the Brooklyn Bridge and get off Manhattan. He is being decisive about the plan, and it's a good plan, good so far. So en route to the Brooklyn Bridge, they are slowly walking through. It is at this point that Rob receives a call from Beth, who is trapped in a building on the other side of Manhattan. Damsel in distress, classic. This is what you call the fork in the road and the ending of Act 1, which is also to incite an action. Jason had already walked ahead and the group were kind of split up at this point, but Jason was further ahead and Lily, his girlfriend, was behind and Hud obviously was with Rob. And here's the moment that it all comes crashing down, literally, when boom, a big ass tail from nowhere crushes Jason and the bridge full of people. Jason, who, you know, up until this point seemed perfectly fit to lead. Thoughtful, caring individual who wanted everyone to survive. It would have been a hero's journey full of peril, but driven by a charismatic, decisive leader. No, but instead we get Rob. Rob, who just moments ago received a text about his girlfriend and now his mind can't go nowhere else. A clever subversion of a protagonist. And here is where I make my case. We were given an archetypal protagonist in Jason who was decisive, seemed to care about the collective, and was focused on trying to get everyone to safety. But instead, he got wiped out. Just like that. Boom. First act done. Rob, who, quite frankly, was selfishly thinking about Beth. I mean, there is a point during the film where he does mention that those can go along without him, but a group's a group and strength in numbers. He still proceeds to try and go for Beth. So I think this is where the subversion of the genre really happens. I think it's quite ingenious. While Rob's journey was a noble one, it was indeed a selfish one, let's be honest. The dominant leader was now gone and replaced with his brother to save his girlfriend, which we then begin Act 2. We should have knew it as a tragedy in awaiting. It makes sense to see that Jason's girlfriend is the only one who survived. When you look at it through this lens, you can actually see why she is the only one who made it out alive. Spoiler alert. While this film shares a lot of its lineage with the giant monster movie, actually back then it was thought of that this may be a new Godzilla movie, which it didn't end up being. Our obsessions with kaijus aside, it can also be seen and viewed as very much a horror film as well. I mean, take the protagonists for instance. They're happy, naive, and unprepared for what they're about to face, just like horror protagonists. However, and this is the point, Jason was the one character who wasn't, which is why in the setup you have to get him out of the way. Because if he's the one character that catches on to what's going on very quickly, he's the one character that has to go. It was a subtle subversion, and I don't know if many of you paid attention to, but it's definitely worth revisiting. With the plot out of the way, we all know where it tragically ended. Rob, Beth perished as well as everyone else. So let's move on to marketing and why I think it was rather ingenious for quite a small, modest film in Hollywood terms. Playing on the nature of the city attack, and not just any city, New York, where a few years before one of the biggest terrorist attacks took place. We get a short promo scene with the Statue of Liberty's severed head flying into shot. Nothing more and pretty much nothing less. I mean, this was a great moment. What a damn symbolic sign that was. I mean, basically it all played into our collective fears. This trailer was given to us a whole year before, and it was attached to 2007's Transformer film. And basically it generated such hype. and really caught the moment. And then you had the marketing material in the poster, and that just built upon that teaser. And so you got this marketing image of Statue of Liberty with a headless body onlooking the island of Manhattan, kind of like an oldie to Escape from New York. So then we had what spawned something of a franchise. We had 2 subsequent films, the second being Cloverfield Lane and Cloverfield Paradox, the last of which we're not really going to talk about because I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Wasn't good. Just didn't live up to anything. It was terrible despite the cast. Anyhow, Cloverfield Lane was well received by the critics, and to me and to everyone, it kind of acted like a chamber piece in this Cloverfield universe. So if you can imagine, the rest of the invasion is happening in the United States, as it always does. And then you get this state where this particular Cloverfield Lane story is happening. It worked well in that regard. You can see that it still had a cohesive connection to each other. That brings us up to the present. Now, a new Cloverfield film is in the works, and apparently it is going to be a direct continuation from the first. So we're going to completely skip whatever nonsense they done with Paradox. Completely, hopefully. Now, obviously it won't involve any of the characters because they all, well, actually they could possibly bring back Lily, but let's see. So Drew Goddard's behind, his pen's gonna be behind this one, so he's back in a writer's chair. Hopefully we'll get a fun, subversive look within the universe that they're building at, and what is this damn invasion, or was it even an invasion? Where are the kaijus now? So let's check it out when it comes out, and yeah, I hope you like this format. I'm gonna try and do a few more of these, sort of script breakdowns. And so if you got any thoughts about the Cloverfield universe and potentially what could happen in the next movie, leave them in the comment section. So if you like, thumbs up, really helps the channel. I really appreciate you. And share. If you really like this video, share it around. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Peace out.